Next News. Breaking news.
Some breaking news. Federal agents just slapped cuffs on illegal aliens caught red-handed stealing your tax dollars through a sophisticated identity theft ring in Massachusetts. We're not talking about allegations anymore. We're talking about actual federal charges, actual arrests, and actual proof that the fraud President Trump warned us about for years is being systematically dismantled. 9 suspects, including illegal aliens using stolen identities from American citizens in Puerto Rico to drain government benefits dry. And here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Now, I'm going to be crystal clear about what this means for you and your family. Every single dollar these criminals stole from SNAP benefits, from Medicaid, from Social Security came directly out of your pocket. You work hard. You pay your taxes. And under the previous Biden administration, that money was being funneled to identity thieves and illegal aliens who gamed a broken system. A Massachusetts state audit just revealed nearly $12 million in fraud in fiscal year 2025 alone. That's your grocery money. That's your kids' education funding. That's your retirement security being looted by people who shouldn't even be in this country. And it gets worse. A whistleblower in Minnesota says he tried to expose a $100 million per year daycare fraud scheme nearly a decade ago, and Democrats let it continue. Former U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson now estimates that the fraud ballooned to nearly $9 billion. This is not just waste, this is systematic theft from the American people, and for too long, nobody in Washington had the courage to stop it. Until now. See, stories like this remind us how quickly systems we rely on can be compromised or collapse entirely, and that's exactly why you need to be prepared for anything. Think about it. If our financial systems, supply chains, or government services got disrupted tomorrow, how long would you survive on what's in your house right now? If it's less than a month, you need to check out our friends at My Patriot Supply. They're America's #1 preparedness company with over 3 million satisfied customers who understand that self-reliance is not optional. And right now, at preparewithgary.com, you'll find a link below. Their best-selling 4-week emergency food supply comes with an additional week of food for free. You're getting real meals with real ingredients, at least 2,000 calories a day, and a shelf life measured in decades. When institutions fail us, we better be ready to take care of ourselves. Get your free week of emergency food at preparewithgary.com, because when you can't trust the system, you better trust yourself to be prepared. Now, here's what makes this story even more explosive. We're now seeing something that never happened under the previous administration. Actual bipartisan agreement that this fraud must be stopped. Republican Representative Tim Burchett and Democrat Representative Ro Khanna, they're pushing together for a nationwide investigation across all 50 states. When a progressive Democrat and a conservative Republican agree that taxpayer-funded programs have become prime targets for exploitation, you know the evidence is undeniable. And officials are warning this Massachusetts case may just be the beginning of a much broader enforcement push. More illegal alien fraud in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. The based mother weighing in on this one. Check this out.
Aliens have grabbed another million in SNAP benefits in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. 7 illegals, 1 legal resident, and 1 American citizen were allegedly stealing other people's identities and then applying for SNAP benefits, free health care, and Social Security benefits. Some of the charges they're facing: aggravated identity theft, making a false statement in a passport application, misuse of a Social Security number, unlawfully obtaining SNAP, making false statements related to health care or Social Security benefits, theft of government benefits. They're just shameless. And yet still, Democrats want to keep raising taxes because they're so responsible with our money. Yeah, all right.
Just the tip of the iceberg. After witnessing the staggering fraud uncovered by illegal aliens, ICE federal crackdown in Massachusetts intensifies, casting a net on those abusing the taxpayer funds. Here's U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. 9 U.S. citizens and illegal aliens, including 2 John Does, were charged in a federal crackdown on benefit fraud schemes in Massachusetts by ICE and its partners. The accused allegedly used stolen identities belonging to U.S. citizens from Puerto Rico. Here is the official report from ICE.
We are working hand in hand with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts and our other partners to to identify, investigate, and to bring to justice those who perpetrate fraud against our taxpayer-funded benefit programs. We will continue every day in this fight until we bring those responsible to justice.
ICE on the case, pursuing justice in Massachusetts. Fox shedding light on the state's deeper fraud problems, revealing a total of nearly 12 million lost.
This is a Fox News alert. Saturday in America continuing to track fraud allegations all across the country. We've seen it in Maine. We brought you some questions about some funding that allegedly was misused in Maine. Those were private donations. Then California. And now, here's the next state, Massachusetts. Now, the state's auditor just released a report revealing massive fraud within programs like Mass Health, the Department of Transitional Assistance, and the Department of Early Education and Care. These are all programs that provide social services to the Massachusetts community. And as you can see, there was over $4 million in fraud uncovered in the state's SNAP program alone. Another $1.3 million connected to the state's Mass Health program, and hundreds of thousands of dollars found in other state programs. We're also learning of 22 civil recoveries that reclaimed nearly $800,000 in fraudulent overpayments. Now, the total amount of fraud in fiscal year 2025 alone was nearly $12 million. That's in 1 year. That's your money. Now, as all this fraud is being exposed, President Trump is reportedly planning to sign an executive order establishing a new fraud task force. Signaling its importance, it will be led by Vice President J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance already on the case. And a former digital forensics supervisor for the Minnesota DHS says he was a whistleblower who came forward and said the Somali community was stealing $100 million a year in daycare fraud. This was nearly a decade ago. Democrats allowed it to continue. Listen carefully.
I think this is the biggest fraud in the United States history. When I was speaking in 2018 to the Minnesota House of Representatives, I said this is Minnesota's Watergate. I think it's far beyond that now.
This whistleblower claims he lost everything 9 years ago after uncovering hundreds of millions of dollars used to fund daycares that he says simply did not exist.
These daycares, is it fair to say that they were run by members of the Somali community here?
Every daycare I investigated was run by Somalis.
In December, then U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson came forward estimating the fraud in Minnesota at nearly $9 billion. Stillman says he feels a little bit of vindication.
Yeah, $9 billion, just the tip of the iceberg there. Shifting focus from the daycare fraud in Minnesota, now explore growing calls in Congress for nationwide investigation into the fraud. Will we see any arrests?
Just so the fraud, the waste, the abuse, it keeps getting worse and worse. But, it looks like the government's finally going to do something about it. I know. We'll see. We might get an arrest. We probably won't, but we might. But anyway, it looks to me like the ball's rolling. And we're seeing Ro Khanna and Tim Burchett. They're pushing together for a big investigation across 50 states. And at the center of the effort is a growing concern that billions of taxpayer dollars are being lost each year through the waste, through the abuse, through fraud, all federally funded programs that run at every state level. The systems like unemployment insurance and Medicaid designed as safety nets have also become prime targets for exploitation. Lawmakers say this isn't about isolated incidents, and we finally have a bipartisan commission where most people agree we have to kill the fraud. The proposed plan would examine programs state by state with a focus on strengthening verification systems, improving data sharing, and modernizing how funds are tracked. There's also an emphasis on holding bad actors accountable. And one of the other things going on right now is there's going to be a little bit of a bounty, if you will, and a better reward. Scott Bessent has a new plan for whistleblowers.
I don't know, but it's very exciting. I think it's going to be a great way to ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse, starting in Minneapolis, which has been ground zero. So we are encouraging whistleblowers who know about fraud, people who are stealing from the American taxpayer, to come forward. At Treasury, we're setting up a website, and we will be giving rewards up to 10 to 30% of the fines that we levy.
Could be some big money in place right there for people blowing the whistle. Let's see some
quite an incentive, wouldn't you say? So I'm going to tell you what's really happening here and why the establishment is terrified. President Trump promised to drain the swamp and stop the bleeding of the American taxpayer. The media mocked him. Democrats called it rhetoric. Right now, federal agents are filing charges. State auditors are uncovering millions in fraud, and whistleblowers who were silenced for nearly a decade are finally being vindicated. The system that protected this theft for years is being dismantled piece by piece. ICE, Homeland Security Investigations, the U.S. Attorney's Office, they're all working hand in hand to bring these criminals to justice. It's really not about politics. It's really about accountability. This is about sending a message that if you steal from the American people, you will face consequences. So, folks, we're witnessing something historic. After years of waste, fraud, and abuse being swept under the rug, the Trump administration is proving that law and order means something again. Federal charges are being filed. Billions in stolen money are being tracked, and officials say more is coming. But we need your help to spread this message because the mainstream media sure won't. So share this video with everybody that you know and drop a comment and tell me, do you think we'll finally see some of these corrupt politicians face justice too? And since you're still here, congratulations. Here's a message not many people will see. This is what we set up exclusively for you to stay connected when the algorithm fails and the notifications never arrive from YouTube. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's how we stay connected. That's how you get the information that you want and you need to stay informed. And hit that subscribe button. Ring the notification bell so you never miss a single update on this developing story. And if you want to show your support for real America First journalism, check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. This is Gary Franchi reminding you that the truth is finally coming out. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.